Welcome to Musée Magazine's People of the Year interviews. My name is Farah, and I'm here with
Jonah Martinez.
Yeah, welcome, Jonah. We're really excited to have you. So I guess to kind of just start us off, you're an economics major in CLA as well as earning a BSB in finance at the Carlson School. What kind of drew you to this particular area of study?
Yeah, I'd say I became interested in economics before finance, and what drew me to that was the political ramifications of a lot of economic issues, whether that's like talking about trade policy or immigration policy at presidential debates, or just the impact that economic policies have over our daily lives. So that's what drew me to study economics as a discipline, and I'd say what attracted me to finance would be the more applied sense that it has than economics, which is like studying it in college, very theoretical, mathematically intense, whereas finance, it's more dealing with real numbers that businesses or firms use and using that to make decisions. So I think that they complement themselves in that way. And I think that understanding the way that the economic and financial systems work is essential for entering discourse about public policy or similar issues to that.
Awesome, great. So you're obviously involved in a lot of things on campus. Do you maybe want to just tell us kind of about what you like to do and the things you're involved in and just kind of a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. On campus, I would say the most direct involvement I have is as president of the Economics Student Organization, the student group that has events, social events and networking events for econ majors on campus. We try and create a more just social atmosphere for econ majors as, again, everything is so mathematically intense. It's nice to be able to unwind and just talk to each other. So yeah, I do that in addition to some off-campus advocacy work with People for PSEO, which I'm also president of.
Awesome, great. So tell me a little bit more about that. It's my understanding that you did PSEO in high school. What was kind of that experience like in your own like personal journey with PSEO and coming to college with a lot of classes and credits already under your belt?
Yeah, I'd say that PSEO was definitely a very transformative experience in how it changed my overall both high school and college experiences. It was very beneficial for me to earn as many credits as I did to try and save as much money for paying for my undergrad, as well as just giving me the opportunity to spend more time during my full college experience to try and do more with what I wanted to study. Whereas like economics and finance, they're two different degrees in two different colleges. I definitely wouldn't have been able to study both had I not done PSEO simply due to financial barriers.
Sure, great. So you also do great advocacy work with People for PSEO. How do you think your own experience with PSEO then kind of translates to, kind of advocating for those students?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say what drew me most to working with People for PSEO was just the desire to kind of preserve and both expand this amazing educational opportunity that I was able to have and just make sure that for future generations of Minnesota students that they're able to access those same opportunities. Like we have information from the Minnesota Department of Education that shows that PSEO enrollment greatly reduces disparities between traditionally underserved communities and marginalized groups. And so ensuring that we keep PSEO an open and accessible system for all high school students, that's just an amazing thing to try and improve the quality of education for all Minnesota high school students. And that's ultimately what drew me to working with People for PSEO, as well as the direct policy work that I've been able to do with our legislative agenda. We are trying and improve how accessible PSEO is for high school students by eliminating rules that high schools have that prevent the dissemination of information, as well as try and stop policies that school districts may have to try and make PSEO seem like a less appealing alternative for students that would otherwise be interested in it.
Wonderful. So it sounds like a lot of what you do with People for PSEO is, kind of lobbying and, getting the attention of, sort of the legislature and those sorts of people. Do you find that at all daunting, I guess? I mean, that's very much, I guess, quote unquote, real world stuff, right? So I guess, what's your experience with that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Trying to make connections with legislators in the Minnesota House of Representatives and State Senate. I mean, yeah, it is fairly daunting the first time that you try and doing that, given that we're all either high school students or young adults. So there's it's our first time doing that, but it's definitely been a very fulfilling activity to work on, given that we're working to try and change Minnesota state law, and
Right.
that's not everyone can say that they have a direct impact on that. We're hoping that through our activities, we're again able to make the education system in Minnesota that much more accessible and free to everyone.
No, that's wonderful and very admirable. Yeah. So kind of switching gears a little bit, you also won the Student Support Award. And I'm just wondering, what does it mean to you to be a supportive presence and, person on campus to all of the different organizations that you're involved with?
Yeah, I mean, I would say to me the most important aspect of supporting other students is simply filling the information gap that otherwise would prevent a first-gen student or just a new college student from being able to access opportunities they otherwise wouldn't know about. And so, I mean, through the economics student organization, for instance, we try and host recruiters, alumni, and graduate organizations most weeks to try and fill that gap for students and try and make everyone aware of all the opportunities that are out there for them and try and connect them with those opportunities. So that's definitely a huge aspect of it. There's also the more individualized aspect of that, just through being a personal mentor for someone. That's very important because, again, you're going to make them feel more connected on campus, make them feel less alone and more confident with what they're able to pursue with their undergraduate education. So I'd say that's ultimately what student support means to me.
Wonderful. So, and you just mentioned that you're, you mentor students. What advice would you give to someone who is kind of just starting their, college journey and maybe specifically even Carlson?
Yeah, I'd say the number one thing is to just put yourself out there and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I'd say that's probably the number one thing that might prevent a student from attending a first semester or first year networking event, trying and maybe talk to recruiters for a large or prestigious company, or just trying to make connections in the classes that they're in and try and form study groups that will help them the rest of their undergraduate career. That's definitely important, and I think that the less that you care about any short-term mistakes that you could make that ultimately don't mean anything, the more confident that you'll be able to be, and the more that'll be able to help you access everything that you're capable of.
Wonderful. So, and you're obviously, a wonderful mentor and somebody that people look up to on campus. Did you have any sort of, guidance or role models of your own coming into college?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, first starting out for PSEO, I was always the youngest person kind of doing anything. So definitely there were upperclassmen students who I was able to talk to, befriend, and who were able to immensely help me with the degree paths that I was choosing and giving me advice on how to talk to recruiters, how to talk with professors to try and build those relationships. And that was able to immensely help me and definitely boost my confidence going into my full college experience and allowing me to access opportunities that otherwise I may not have accessed.
Wonderful. Well, Jonah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and we're happy to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.